इससे समझाओ।
विन ग्रिप टेक्नोलॉजी कुछ इस तरह सीमेंट को ग्रिप करता है बिल्कुल टाइट।
SRMB TMT चैंपियंस की पसंद।
Hi everyone, this is Norman Koshnik yet again after an extraordinary match, a match that makes no sense to me. The pre-match discussions we were talking about KKR winning and winning handsomely over the Rajasthan Royals, but yet again we've been shocked. Rajasthan Royals beat Deadly Capitals, now they've beaten KKR, so scratch your head stuff despite having so many players unavailable or injured. So this is it. Norman Koshnik on Extra time. I should make that very clear where I'm from. And I'm with three not bad-looking guys, I guess. I have to say they're average-looking, but they're okay. One is, of course, Debashis Sen. Now, he's at least not wearing his Chelsea cap, which is one thing. Welcome, Debashis.
Welcome, Norman.
And we have Naresh Mansukani, again, with his lovely long hair. He's come up like he's Imran Khan looking.
Hi, Norman. Very good evening.
Yes, good evening. And last but not least, a current Bengali cricketer, opening batter extraordinaire, I've been told, Jay Basu. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Norman?
I'm a little bit bewildered, shocked, but otherwise good.
Okay. That's all about T20 cricket. That's T20
true.
cricket. Yeah.
That's true. But come on, Jay, don't tell me that you predicted this win. Please don't tell me you predicted this win.
No, the best part about T20 is that you can't predict anything. It's just a 3-hour game. The team that plays better just that 3 hours. Names doesn't matter. And to be precise, KKR is batting horribly this season. From the game one, they're not just batting well. So, and 134 at Bombay was like, it was not at par at all. In Chennai, maybe you can say that's fair enough score to defend, but not at Bombay.
I totally agree. I mean, this is very ordinary stuff. 9 for 133 over the 20 overs. Now, Chris Morris is going to claim to be a good player today, and yes, he did take 4 wickets. And I just wonder whether it was Chris Morris's bowling. He did take some very important wickets, such as the likes of Russell and Kartik when it was most needed. Towards the end there, which was crucial. They may have got 20 or 30 more. But look at Owen Morgan. Yet again, admittedly he was run out today, but yet again he hasn't scored. There's some serious questions have to be asked about both his captaincy and his batting. Yeah, in general, I mean, the KKR batters were very ordinary. Or was it more that the Rajasthan Royals bowlers bowled tidily? I mean, the reality is, Chris Morris did take 4 wickets for 23. Very impressive on paper. In fact, did he get man of the match? Do we know yet whether he got man of the match? No, I don't think
it should be him because 4 for 34, and as you said, he took the important wickets. It should be him, yeah.
But is he worth all that money? Oh, I'm not sure. I mean, he's got themselves off last to probably second last. It's not exactly a whirlwinding series for them, but it's just put questions on KKR for the rest of this innings or the series. I still think that Rajasthan Royals and Punjab Kings will be towards the bottom, despite the wins they've had of late. We're only in game, what is it? Game 18. We've still got more than 2/3 of the competition to go, including the playoffs. Yeah. We're a long way from being on top of who's winning, but there is a clear 4 emerging. I still believe that's the case. So where to from here for KKR? Are they to go back to Kolkata? Maybe Jay, are you ready to play? I mean, get your batting gloves and bat ready. We might need you.
Yeah, the thing is that they're not playing any home games. No team is playing any home games in this IPL this season. So KKR is not getting any home advantage at the Eden Gardens or something. But they just need to buckle up. Like, they're not just batting well. And the biggest problem what I feel with KKR is that the captain is not performing. And when your captain is not performing, the confidence gets low through the entire team. And that will show. Because once your captain starts performing, the team will look more confident. The captain will take his decisions in a very positive way. And the entire vibrant will be like great. So Morgan needs to perform, or else KKR needs to drop him, make Karthik or somebody else the captain, and play someone else in someone like Lockie Ferguson or somebody in place of him.
Oh, don't you mention Lockie Ferguson? We've had everybody on air talk about Lockie Ferguson. My gosh, he seems to be. Is he paying us all to talk about him? I'm not sure. I don't know whether
he's a very good bowler. He can bowl you like 145 clicks. He's a very good bowler. He has a deceptive slower ball, which comes from the back of the hand. He rolls his hand around, and he's a very, very good bowler.
I'm not denying that, but I don't think he's enough for Kolkata Knight Riders to actually completely turn their performances around. They need to. Their bowling needs to prove yes, but their batting is the paramount problem. I think. It's Devashis.
And what has Nareen done? He was promoted at the batting order. He did hit a six of the first ball, but wasted 6 more balls before he got out. And then he missed a genuine run out. Means you never know. Means had Samsung was left stranded in the middle. All he had to do was to hit the wicket. He failed. So it is really a bit baffling to know, Norman, is that you have someone in the dugout called Andre Russell who comes in to bat in the 16th over. Is there any logic behind your best attacking batsman coming in the 16th over? Means, and also the fact that he in his last match he played that innings. So there is no logic in sending Andre Russell at 16. You are just losing the match there. There is no logic. I for one doesn't feel any logic with that decision.
Same with Pat Cummins as well. Pat Cummins was similarly.
So Norman, I just wanted to add, Norman. Yes, it was a bit slower compared to the Wankhede matches that we have. The pitch was a bit slower. The last 2 games got big scores, but they're coming from Chennai, so definitely is much better than what they experienced in Chennai. So there's no excuse on the pitch being slower. But the top order failed even in the last game. But way Pat Cummins, Dinesh Karthik, and Russell got them back, nearly beating CSK, their morale should have been really lifted up. Jay would agree with me. Sometimes those performances, irrespective of win or loss, can boost the team up. But we didn't see the fire on the field. Whereas Rajasthan, who were depleted after being beaten by 10 wickets to Bangalore, were actually looking charged up. So the body language was very contrasting compared to the last game that they played.
Very, very true. Very, very true. I mean, Rajasthan Royals, to be very honest with you, went into this match with nothing to lose, because you could argue they've already lost their positioning on the table. And even though they've won today, we still consider them the bottom 4 side, don't we? We really can't see Rajasthan Royal coming on a roll now.
With Stokes and Archer out of the tournament, I don't think that they have the firepower in them.
So it's amazing the art of mental strength in a game of cricket. As you know, Jay, you may not necessarily be physically there, but if you're mentally there, it's amazing how they could carry you through. I mean, in my case, I always think I'm going to score a century, even though I'm past it now. I still think that way. But I do think it's attitudinal. Really, it is attitudinal. Something is wrong with Owen Morgan. There is something not right. Is it Brendan McCullum and Owen Morgan? Is there fundamental differences? Are they fighting each other's tactics? I believe they are. Brendan McCullum is more risk-orientated and Owen Morgan is more conservative. And when you have those powers to be, you're going to have a clash. So Jay, Naresh knows, when I look at the dugouts during the match and the byplay that goes on, and I still see a dissension going on there. There were times they look towards the bench, and if you look carefully, there's something going on. I would love to do it. I'm going to try and do this to capture clips of the bench through matches, and you can judge the mood of a team by their bench. I said that when the likes of Warner, Williamson, and Bairstow and their performances together and their bench. Again, there appeared to be a form of frustration, and I actually saw. I want to Barsha I saw frustration even on Andre Russell's face. I believe he must be saying, hey, let me bat, let me out there, and they're holding him back. It's distinct. I think Owen Morgan is holding it back. I reckon Brendan McCullum say, send him in. I reckon that's the sort of conversation that's happening, and that affects the side. What do you think, guys?
Absolutely means if you look at the top order means the likes of Nitish Rana and Shubman Gill, 24 runs of 6 overs. Is it justified in a T20 format?
No,
I
no.
don't. I don't think so. Even irrespective of the wicket being slow and all those excuses, I don't think so. There is no excuse if you score 24 runs in just 6 overs. So means I think that the entire approach is very conservative. And you look at someone like Yashasvi Jaiswal playing in his first match. At least he had, at least you could make out from his efforts. He was trying to score runs, trying to bat freely. Means it was totally different approach you can see from the both sides. Whereas you look at the KKR top order, the likes of Shubman Gill and Nitish Rana. Nitish Rana, something's wrong with Nitish Rana. I don't see. Means obviously he might be a great batsman for domestic cricket, but think something needs to be worked out with the KKR team management because he's not doing justice at the top. That's what I feel.
Well, that also comes through in the hesitancy of the batsman. The two runouts, you would argue, showed hesitancy in the running. Something wasn't committed. They weren't committed to what they were doing. I believe that Owen Morgan has told them to be, let's not lose wickets early. Let's be less wickets down. And then it backfired. I seriously think it's backfired. Look,
it's just not this match. In Owen Morgan's captaincy, I've seen him taking decisions in this tournament's IPL. If you remember the match against Mumbai in Chennai, Surya Kumar Yadav and Rohit Sharma was batting, and he thrown the ball in the 5th over during the power play to an off spinner. That was Harbhajan Singh, and Surya Kumar Yadav hit 3 boundaries of that over, and that over went for 14 or 16 runs at the end. So it was no point when 2 right-hander batsmen were batting in a power play and you throw the ball to Harbhajan Singh and you just when the game was there at KKR's hand, like they were scoring hardly 4.5 or 5 runs and over, and then you suddenly give away 16 runs in a power play. It just takes the momentum away from KKR. And also there was a game against RCB at the 19th over. He had thrown the ball to Harbhajan Singh when AB de Villiers was batting. That is absolutely ridiculous. I cannot justify those decisions when the momentum of the game just goes away with these decisions. When he had someone like Varun Chakravarti or he had Shakib Al Hasan at that day, a left arm spinner would have been much more effective in a turning track with 2 right-handers in batting, and rather you throw an off spinner in the mix when the ball is coming and it's easier to hit. This kind of decisions like just changes the complexion of the game altogether.
No, I agree wholeheartedly. And included in that is the fact that the 4 out of the top 5 batters yet again failed. You can't rely on Russell, Cummins, and maybe Kartik to come in and win the match for them or to play well for them. They need to get their top 4 or 5 batters batting well. And again, they've failed. A failure is not only is it in terms of the amount of runs, it's the time it took to score the runs.
That's because KKR is not having a specialist T20 opening batsman in their squad. And that's the basic. You look around in every team, they have at least, like Punjab has Mayank Agarwal and K. Rahul who can hit. Bangalore has Devdutt Padikkal and Virat Kohli and Glenn Maxwell who are specialized T20 batsmen. If you look at Mumbai Indians, they have Rohit Sharma, they have Quinton de Kock, they have Surya Kumar Yadav at the top of the order. If you go and look at Delhi, they have Shikhar Dhawan, they have Prithvi Shaw, they have Rishabh Pant who can hit the ball. But you look at KKR, I don't think there are much power hitters in the team. It's just they rely too much on Andre Russell, that they expect him to come in every match and score a 50 runs of 20 balls, 25 balls. That's not going to happen every day. Others needs to step up.
I totally agree. And, this might sound a bit over the top, but you could throw Russell in there, or more so Morgan to open, because Morgan can also open. He has done that in the past. If he really wants to sort out his batting ability, wants to really break the shackles and get some runs, why doesn't he just go in with a new ball and hammer away and almost hit his way into form? Potentially, Owen Morgan's capable of that. And well, imagine Russell and Morgan teeing off early and getting 80 to 100 run opening partnership in no time, that could be a clincher to the rest of the batting order. So look, they're going to have to do something. And with a Brendan McCullum in charge, he's just a sort of mentality to do that. So I'm going to blame Alan Morgan here. Really, I do believe he's not taking any form of control of his team, and either he gets dropped as captain or moves aside, or something has to happen because it's just not working.
I think, Norman, I would just like to add is that he is having a terrible run of late when it comes to his batting form. Means in the T20 series against India, he scored only 33 runs from the five matches. Means that's totally means he has not been scoring runs of late, and that has reflected in his into IPL. You look at the innings, the last four matches. Here, obviously, he was touch unlucky today because that run out he has nothing to do. It was very, very unlucky. But then, having said that, he has not been in the best of form, and that is hurting big time for KKR.
I mean, we have to be fair to him to some extent. The man has actually won a World Cup. Don't forget, he has done something of that nature. That's where his credibility is high. But there's only so long you can live on that before you start to be considered as not the right person to be picked. All right, let's just move across to the so-called Rajasthan Royals batting. Samson, look, we were knocking him quite heavily. We said he got a big centre at the beginning of the series and has been falling away. Well, today, he did what he had to do. He kept a steady hand on a small total and made sure they didn't lose enough wickets and somewhat cruised to victory with an over and a ball to spare. What do you think of Samson's performance today, Naresh?
Yeah, and that's what it is. He came with a very positive mindset. Even during the toss, he looked relaxed. It wasn't that they lost the last game by 10 wickets. The openers really hammered them. That wasn't the fear he was having. He felt that, and winning the toss and immediately saying I will bowl first was, I think, something which went in his favor. He had come with that plan. So, and I think both the teams made the right change. He got Unatkar back for the spinner, and they got a better pacer in Mavi instead of Nagarkutty. So the changes were right. What went well for Rajasthan in the field was the left arm. All the three left arm seamers were using the variation very well. They were holding on to the pace. They immediately adapted to the pitch that it will not be very easy to bat on. So they started bowling it a little slower, and that became more difficult. And I agree with Jay. Shubman Gill is, to me, since the time he started playing cricket, he's not a T20 batsman, and there should be nothing wrong in it. It's just that because of IPL they're playing, he is a long inning batsman. So Samson, I think, redeemed himself with the fear that we've been talking that he's been inconsistent. I think he did very well after Butler got out to come in and steady. Jaiswal was very aggressive in the beginning, which is good, his first game. But yeah, we need to see this Samson when he's chasing a bigger total. Will he be able to play this role at number 3 right deep till the end and take the team to the win?
Well, let's be honest. He scored a century his very first match. They still lost. They still lost. So he's not enough. Even though he's important, he's not enough. The reality is both these sides are going nowhere. I'm sorry, they're not going to be in the top 4, despite the fact that the Rajasthan Royals admirably won this match and against Delhi Capitals not long ago as well. There's not enough firepower. They've lost the Stokes, Jofra Archer, and Liam Livingston. They're admirably doing okay, but they just haven't got enough. This match was dismal in terms of standard.
And what shall I go, Naresh?
Yeah, please.
What was Rust?
Why are you asking Naresh? You should be asking me. Beg your pardon.
I was to speak something. That's right. Yeah, that's okay.
All right, Norman, can I go? So
what do you think, Jay? Do you reckon we should let the bastards go? What do you think?
Yeah, please. He's a nice guy. You can let him talk.
What was noticeable today is the body language of both the teams. Means if you notice that Nitish Rana at the boundary, he was so lethargic. He missed a boundary, but whereas we talk about the Rajasthan fielding, Yashwal took a splendid catch. Then that run out of Chris Morris, throwing out his body full stretched. These are small moments that go in a long way in helping the team eventually. So you can actually make out the body language of both the teams. Means something that KKR lack, KKR fielders lack that spark. I feel, and that has to
Yeah,
come from the dugout.
yeah, I agree. And Riyan Parag taking 2 catches, he had his own way of celebrating, but at least it
Yeah.
felt that they were enjoying it. They were enjoying on the field.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But we have to expect this though. It shouldn't.
Yeah.
Good feeling shouldn't be seen to be something great. It's expected of these players. There are no excuses. I mean, it's commendable when a person takes a great catch and makes a great run out. I commend that. But it is expected at this level for that to be par for the course. Let's not start to go, oh, teams. I mean, I get your point. You are right. There was an attitudinal problem with KKR today. But I do think that this is what we expect. It's not something that we should be shocked about. But the main problem here is that you're right. The dugout, the motivational aspect of the teams, and the fact that they're going through hell is not acceptable. Look, the reality is, let's be really honest with you. This is 18 days in a row of cricket. They're not all playing 18 days worth of cricket, but they're on song. They're having to concentrate. It's bloody difficult out there for anyone to be in that mode. I'm beginning to, don't take this wrongly, but I'm beginning to see maybe too much cricket in this short space of time. I don't know how you change that, but I think maybe the use of...
There's a catch in it. Like in the bio bubble, if you're not playing matches frequently, it might be very tiresome on your mind. If you play matches, at least you're out of your hotel, you're out of your room, at least you're doing some activity. But if you're getting like 3 days, 4 days gap in between matches, you're staying at the hotel, you cannot go outside your room, you cannot go to the restaurant, have dinner, you cannot go outside, it'll become very, very tiresome on your mind. I've played a tournament like back in November, December, when you play matches in a bio bubble, and trust me, it's not easy. It's not easy on the mind. It's absolutely not easy on the mind. It's like maybe physically very tiresome playing matches back to back, but on the mind, if you're playing back to back matches, at least you're out of your hotel, you're at the ground, you're doing some activity, you're not getting bored or not getting mentally fatigued sitting at your hotel room.
Okay, it's a very good point. I have to I can see that is true, but maybe they could have more double headers. Is what I'm getting at. You can have an extra day's break and have a double header. That would perhaps solve that. And I think
but Norman, we need to keep in mind there may be new players that have been come into the auction this year, but most of these players experienced this in the last IPL in UAE. They've experienced this. The best thing that is happening is there is no travel involved, not much travel involved. Rather, in UAE, there was only surface travel. I think 2 teams were housed in Abu Dhabi. The remaining 6 were in Dubai. So they were just traveling from Dubai to Sharjah, Abu Dhabi, which is hardly 45 minutes or to 1 hour drive. So they were in the same hotel for nearly 2.5 months. Here, at least after 15 days, they moved to another city. So and traditionally, or when everything is normal, IPL, it is like they play a game and they just travel the next day and then they play another game the third day, doing that for nearly 50 days. So it has both the sides. Yes, I agree what Jay is saying, mentally just sitting inside the room, but I'm sure they would be coming out for practice at least for 2-3 hours. But that cannot be a reason for this. KKR focused on the top order because it failed in the last game, more than the positive of what Russell, Karthik, and Cummins did in the last game. That's why they were more conservative to play out the power play, but it did not give them the desired results.
Yeah, okay, I concede to that.
Yeah.
I just wish we see a bit more freshness, as you're saying. I think there's a lack of that. I think some of the teams can be excused somewhat, but you're getting paid the big dollars here, aren't you? You've got to be on song. Now, I tell you what, if someone was paying me a couple of $1 million or X amount of crores, even I'd be trying my guts out. Hard to believe, but yes, I'd be trying hard too.
Yeah, and what is happening is the Indian contingent is failing. The overseas, if you see, Russell has done well, Cummins has bowled well. Ian Morgan is a big concern, and yes, I agree when Debasi said, why is Sunil Narayan playing? How can they get in Ben cutting the batsman in? They'll have to look at that option, So who goes out? So whether Sunil Narayan goes out and a batsman comes in, this means they are going with a less bowler. Will Varun Chakravarti be the only spinner? that they have to
bowled-
decide,
he-
because Morgan needs to take a decision on himself.
Yeah.
Well,
But today both Shivam Mavi and Varun Chakraborty bowled very well.
Yeah,
They bowled very well today.
yeah.
And the problem
Oh,
is, like Naresh pointed a very, very good thing. The Indian contingent is failing. You need to realize that no current Indian T20 players are playing in this KKR side. So you need to realize that the Indian French players, what they have in their team, they're not superstars. They're not T20 players basically, who are not even featuring in the Indian T20 side. So how do you expect them to come out and match with somebody like a Virat Kohli or a Rohit Sharma or XYZ like Shikhar Dhawan or Prithvi Shaw, who are actually playing for the national side in the shorter formats of the game? So if KKR is not picking players who are there already, established players, so this kind of performance more often than not will come in a competitive game.
Absolutely, and I just spot on Jaideep, because see, look at Mumbai Indians. They have so many players who are in the T20 Indian squad, the likes of Rohit Sharma, Hardik Pandya, Krunal Pandya, Rahul Chahar. They all played the T20 matches for India. But whereas KKR, you have only recently have Prasidh Krishna, who has just been drafted in that white ball format. He just played that one day series. And the Varun Chakravarti, obviously, he had some fitness issues for the reason
That
he
fitness
was not.
issues. Yeah.
So
yeah.
otherwise, you have hardly any Indian players who are in the reckoning for the T20 matches for India. So
But
that is
we
where I.
also. Sorry, I was going to interrupt. Look, I'm not in disagreement. You're making a lot of sense. But a team of champions will not beat a champion team.
Yeah.
Okay? So you could have the entire Indian T20 squad, but that doesn't guarantee you anything. We know that RCB in the past have had, the star-studded alliance and haven't won. The key here is not necessarily, I believe, individual star players, but the actual team dynamics itself. And I think that Owen Morgan is at the centre of that, and there is dissension between McCullum and Morgan. There must be. They're very differing tactics to the way they approach T20 cricket, and it's showing.
Yeah, Norman, I agree, because if you take these two teams, the inaugural IPL 2008 Rajasthan won under Shane Warne, and then Kolkata has won 2 titles under Gautam Gambhir. So what you're saying is right. It comes ultimately to the leadership. Do they have the right leader, leading the side? Yes, Ian Morgan has won the 50-over World Cup, but he had a different level of the team with him. They were superstars. They were superstars. Jason, and that is what it is. Is it there is going to be a mid auction after the end of the 7th game? Are they waiting to replace Archer and Butler there? Ben Stokes there, so that they can pick up from the other teams who are in the bio bubble, because Jason Roy is just sitting on the bench for Hyderabad. So,
Okay, explain it to me more. There's a mini auction taking place?
No, they last year they did that in UAE. That at the end of the 7th game, all teams play. There's a mid trade of exchanging players in case you want to replace. And that's how Holder came in for Hyderabad. That's how Holder came for Hyderabad.
They are having Rasif van der Dusen joining very shortly, because
Joining
he
them
has
from South Africa, right?
from South Africa. He has some visa issues, so I think he will soon join them. But
It's
then,
not enough, though.
but that's not enough, because someone who could replace someone like Ben Stokes or Jofra Archer.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Ben Stokes is the number 1 all-rounder in the world right now, so there's no replacement for him in the world.
But he's also a good captain or captaincy style player, and he motivates the team. That's where I go back to a player like Dan Christian playing for RCB. His quality of winning a match in a team and his understanding of that is why RCB are also winning. He's not even playing in some games. He's 12th man, but his presence is almighty, and that's another reason. I go and watch the video of this game. Go and watch the dugout. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, Debashes, you and I have a job to do. We need to get all the dugout footage we can get and put it together, and you'll tell a tale of this tournament very, very quickly. Okay.
But then, Norman, we will end up getting copyright from BCCI and IPL. We cannot use the TV graph.
Well, then throw shots of me in between eating biscuits or something. That'll break it up. There's no copyright there. No one's going to stop me eating my bloody biscuits. All right, so forget the copyright there. All right, that's it. All right, now I'm just going to say.
I just want to add here something.
The bastard, you're interrupting me. Wait,
wait.
My crystal ball's more important. Now, Jay, just because you haven't seen it yet, my crystal ball tells all. And I'm still saying these two teams on the bottom of the side, full stop. Just wanted to add that. Now, the bastards, your turn.
Obviously, it's a bit baffling because this franchise, they spend so much on their support staff. See, look at the likes in the KKR dugout. You have Brendan McCallum, you have who else? Brendan McCallum and
Brendan McCallum.
David Hussey.
Brendan McCallum.
Brendan McCallum. When KKR won the IPL in 2000, last they won in 2016, they had a guy called Mike Horn, who has been he has been a well-known psychologist. So in a format like IPL, in fact KKR was the flag bearer in this case. They brought in this new guy who was a sports psychologist. He was involved because in previous cases also we know Indian team, when they won the 2011 World Cup, they had a psychologist. In 2003 World Cup, they had Sandy Gordon. In 2011 also they had a West Indian who was a sports psychologist. Mike Horn was involved with the German football team that won the World Cup champion, FIFA World Cup champion. So if they are investing so much on having these ex-cricketers, paying a healthy lot of dollars to them, like Brendan McCallum or David Hussey, why not get in some psychologists? Because these youngsters, the guys like Nitish Rana or a Shivam Mabi or a Kamlesh Nagarkoti, because it's all about mental. Cricket is also about mental. So I think something is going wrong.
Okay. Dan Christian is certainly the psychologist for RCB. Let's be honest. You bring in a player with a winning culture. Experience at winning is the key. Now, that's where you would argue Owen Morgan should be invaluable because he's won major tournaments, like a World Cup. That's what they hang their hat on, but he's just not performing. There's a simple lack of that. Now, do they get rid of Owen Morgan if they lose a couple more matches, or do they not, is the question that we need to consider. Are they going to persist with him for the rest of the tournament, or are they going to change him? Let's see what happens there. I think that there's some issues there. It may well be that Brendan McCallum changes. Maybe David Hussey takes more of the reins. We just don't know. There's something not right. Something stinks. Okay. Do we see either of these two teams making the top four at this stage? Jay?
No. Neither of them.
No.
To me, neither of them looks as strong as a Mumbai team or a Bangalore team or a Chennai team or the Delhi team or the Punjab team. These two teams doesn't look at par with any of them. To me, it'll be a surprise if any of these two teams goes on and then qualifies for the playoffs.
I have to agree. Chris Morris has got the man of the match here. At least he can put those trophies in his cabinet and say, well, I've been paid squillions of dollars. Here's my reason to getting those trophies.
Yes, Sanju Samson must be kicking himself now for not taking the single that day.
In fact, now he has played roles in two matches that Rajasthan has won.
Yeah.
Both the wins, he had a contribution, and also today his 18th over was a turning point for me because having both Russell and
Karthik.
I think had they stayed on for another couple of overs, when KKR might end up scoring at least 30-40 more runs, things could have been different altogether.
Well, as you said, I think in the preview match to Bastards, they should put those two up the order, especially the likes of Russell. Why not? Why not? If you're in a position where you're low on the table, take risks, good risks.
Absolutely.
I think he's one. I mean, Andre Russell could have opened the innings of joking or even first off, whatever, and have gone for 80 or 90 had he been given more exposure. I really think the power play at the beginning, a new ball is where the advantage is taken most. If you can get on the front foot and score big early, you're in charge of this match, aren't you?
Even this new guy for Rajasthan, Chetan Sakaria, he's been a good find. He's bowling really well in this IPL.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've actually played him in domestic matches. He's a very, very, very good bowler, and he's an intelligent bowler. He reads what the batsman wants to do very, very quickly. He'll bowl couple of balls or 3 balls to a batsman, and he'll it's his instinct that he knows that what the batsman's going to do next. So he changes his length, he changes his line, he changes the pace of the ball. He's a very intelligent bowler.
Is he pretty quick to face?
Oh, he's kitty. He's not quick. He's not quick like Jofra Archer or somebody like a Bumrah or somebody like a Mohammad Shami. He's not as quick as them, but he's not slow either. He'll bowl you at around 135 clicks. He'll not bowl you at 145, but he'll bowl at 135 clicks, which is not slow.
Yeah, and if you see all these 3 left-armers use that well on this pitch, Sakaria,
they bowl the cutters also pretty well.
Especially Mustafa Rahman was very good in that, And as you said that they may not be able to make it to the top 4, but they can spoil the party for someone, because going ahead, the pitches would continue to be slow. Wherever they play, this is summer in India, the pitches would be slow.
It's going to get slower as the days progress.
Yeah.
The Rajasthan Royals are far too inconsistent. Even though they played well on occasions, they're far too inconsistent. Very, very lackluster match, I'm sorry to say, guys. It was a bit frustrating to see parts of the match. Both sides were leaving a lot to be desired, I would say. Even though it appears that AHA won convincingly, not convincingly enough. There's a lack. But guys, the Bashas, I want you to ask me this question. Would you be considering changing the captaincy of KKR?
Frankly speaking, Norman, I don't see a change in captaincy because Morgan was appointed the captain midway in the season, last season. If you remember, Karthik relinquished from the post. It was not KKR management.
He himself volunteered to step down. So I don't see Morgan stepping down or the KKR management pushing him off. But you never know because these are very the franchisee. You cannot say anything about the franchisee. One fine morning, you might see them if KKR goes on to lose another couple of matches. You never know. It's too early for us to predict. But I, for once, don't see a change in captaincy, irrespective of the result this season.
Okay, Jay and Naresh, you think the same?
Yeah, they won't be making any changes. The point is, it's not like Hyderabad where they have an option available. If Warner, rather voluntary, or the management says something, they have Kane Williamson. Honestly, they have no one, and they would not want to go back to Karthik. Neither would Karthik be wanted to be considered for this. So, and I agree, one full season he should lead the side, and then they can take a decision.
All right, they're not going to be going back to Karthik, that's for sure. In fact, he may not want that. He may be the one to stop that to start with. So, it's a frustrating. It was a frustrating game for me. I didn't live up to anything that I expected it to be this mediocre, to be honest with you. But I expected KKR to return to some sort of form. Oh boy, we've got a match which is going to follow this tomorrow. In fact, we've got a double header tomorrow.
Doubleheader. I think the first one is going to be very exciting. The top 2 on the table, Bangalore versus Chennai. I think is going to be a great.
Great game. All top 4 teams playing tomorrow.
Yeah, all top 4. No, I don't think Mumbai is not playing.
Are you saying Sunrise Hyderabad are top 4? Oh.
No. It's 1-2, and Hyderabad is playing Punjab. Delhi Capitals in Chennai. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3.
3 or 4 tops.
1 to 3. Yeah.
But yeah, CSK versus RCB. Again, I do say this a lot, but I think that's a pivotal match. That could actually set the tone for the top end of the town. Those 2 teams are going to figure, I'd say, and therefore they'll be on their best behaviour. Emma Stoney versus Kohli. Very interesting, mouth-watering match. And it's at Mumbai, so there's been no excuses about, it's a Chennai wicket. I'm sick of people saying to me, "Oh, but the Chennai wicket. Oh, but the Chennai wicket." Both teams have to play on these pitches. Who do they bat one? They bat in Chennai and they bowl in Mumbai? No. So they both teams. In fact, Jay, do you tell me you don't use the excuse? Oh, the wicket was slow. I batted better.
No. It's the same for both the teams.
Both the teams.
It's the same. Yeah, there's an advantage if you bat first. As the match progresses, the wicket gets slower and lower even more. If you win the toss, you bat, you get a little bit of more advantage, but it doesn't change much in 40 overs. It doesn't change hell lot in 40 overs. So the wicket remains the same for everybody.
Oh, we've got. I can't read that, Jabashis.
Yeah, Ankan Katua, he just has a question for all of us. Do you think Gill shouldn't open as it was in the previous seasons?
He's an opening batsman. He opens. There's nothing wrong with that. He's just not as good at T20 as he is with the longer format. It's as simple as that. I don't think batting him anywhere else in the order will change much, to be honest. In fact, it could make it worse. I like the fact that gentleman put his photo on his YouTube. I like that. I like seeing photos. I'm sick of seeing blank pictures. Everyone put a photo on your YouTube channel. Even though you may not be active, I'll put a photo. I mean, I've got me lying on the beach semi-nude. It's a great shot. Don't laugh. I get a lot of
We're
hits.
smiling. We didn't laugh.
Okay. All right. Although the audio, I heard laughter in the audio. Come on. Now, Debashis,
Yes.
please. Tell me honestly, who would you see is emerging in this competition? Who is I know it's early, but I'm going to keep asking this. Who are you seeing firming as your favourite? Are we going to see it the next two games? Are we going to see the future champion in the next two games?
Definitely. It will be between those two teams who I think will make it to the finals. Means obviously I cannot. It's too premature to tell them who will be going to win the championship. But then definitely one among these two teams that plays tomorrow will make it to the finals. And talking about, I would say Sunrisers Hyderabad, they might be the dark horse in the IPL. Means obviously we were not counting them. But after the win last match, I think they have that thing now. If they get their balance right, I think they might be there right there.
Are you saying that bowling's good enough?
Obviously the fact that Natarajan is out, but then they have pretty decent bowlers in their lineup with the likes of Bhuvneshwar Kumar. Means he's a very, very good bowler. So, but yeah, Natarajan will be a factor for them because the way he bowled last season, consistently bowling those Yorkers and the death overs, he will be surely missed in the death overs. But still, I feel if they can get their balance right, if the top order fires with the likes of Bairstow, Williamson, and Warner, and the Indian middle order with the likes of Manish Pandey and others, I think they have a very
Kedar Jadhav played. He didn't get a chance to bat, but yes, time for Kedar Jadhav to he's got the experience. Yeah.
I don't see SRH being anywhere near as convincing as RCB. I'm sorry. At this moment in time, I mean, Warner Williamson, of course, we've got some ability, and Bear, so we've got some ability there, yes. But I don't think, again, the dynamics of that team, the coaching they've got, they played well last game, granted, but I'm not convinced they're a top four contender just yet. They've got to prove to me with a few more wins. That one win is not enough. All right. But I'm looking forward to tomorrow. That first match in particular, RCB CSK, mouth-watering match. Then I'll get excited.
Yeah.
Jay, can you imagine me excited?
Yeah, for tomorrow's first match, I can imagine you being excited when AB de Villiers will pull all his guns out and play all those rampant shots. You will be excited for that.
I think Norman, you need to do a small video of taking reactions from the Australian public, who they think is a better captain, whether it's Virat Kohli or a Mahendra Singh Dhoni. Do some build up. Do some build up and put it on your channel.
I will. Give me a chance.
What do the Aussie fans?
Like,
It'll be
Tabas,
it'll be 90-10 to Mahendra Singh Dhoni any day.
Tabas, it's 4:40 a.m. in the morning. I can't go in the streets now. The police will think I'm some sort of weirdo. What are you talking about? I'm not going to people on the street at 4:40 in the morning. Oh, what do you think of Kohli? I'm going to get a big slap from anyone's on the street. What are you talking about? Are you mad? Let me at least go to sleep for half an hour. Jesus. Sorry. I get a bit emotional because the bastard goes to me. Why don't you go out at 4:40 in the morning and talk to people? There's no one out there. Maybe it's a couple of drunks out there.
Did I mean that you go right now? I'm saying go
It sounded
later
like
in
it.
the
It
day.
sounded like it. What was it? Naresh, help me out here. Did it sound like you told me to go outside now? Probably
Go around breakfast time at 10 a.m. Go to the beach, meet
And
people.
and Naresh,
ask them what
he's a very popular guy in Kuji.
Okay.
Everyone in Kuji knows him now.
I mean, they see me loitering on the streets asking questions with this extra time hat on. What do you think they're going to think? I say that I'm on release from jail and they're given a community task. That's what I say. All right. So, Tabas, I'm not going out at 4:45 in the morning. Okay. What do you think about
would win tomorrow's first match? Who would win tomorrow's first match?
Right.
It's it's a very difficult question, and that's the beauty of the game tomorrow because both the teams are peaking at such a right time. They look good. Yes, Chennai lost a game, but they both look very well balanced. Their batsmen are doing well. Their bowlers are doing well. Chennai were missing batsmen the last time. I think Faf is giving a good start. Reina is back.
Ruturaj is also
Ruturaj is doing well. It would be a 50-50 to start the game tomorrow. It cannot. No one is a clear favorite for tomorrow's game.
But with a name like Faf, I'm sorry, I can't have confidence in a name like Faf. Anyway, all right. Now going back to that game, look, my excitement is around AB de Villiers. We've talked about batsmen not handling the ball that's slower and slower. Okay, the reality is he can handle that type. He doesn't bother with batting on a slow turning or indifferent bounce wicket. He can still hit the ball to the boundary cleanly. What a player! What a champion!
Yeah, Norman, we were talking about human beings. He's not a human being, so we can keep him out of our discussions. We are talking about human beings, players. He's from another planet. The shots that he plays, the range of shots that he has, the power that he generates, at will he can play anywhere he wants to. He can't be a normal human being. He doesn't have flesh and blood in him. He has something else. We need to check on that sometime later.
So are you suggesting he's from Mars or Venus or something? Is that what you're
maybe in some other galaxy. He's not from Milky Way galaxy. He might be from some other galaxy. You never know that.
But the question is, have they got COVID there? That's my question. Have they got COVID? How would you know? Jay, are you from another planet?
No. I'm quite from here.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, there's no doubt.
Very interesting to see how Devdutt Padikkal approaches his inning tomorrow.
Yes.
He's on a high. He got that 100. Shouldn't be the Samson way of having a low-scoring inning for him. Very interesting, and it's a good bowling attack. Deepak Chahar is on a high. He's swinging the ball well. Yes, it's an afternoon game in Wankhede. That would be a little better. It will be very humid. This side of the country is very humid during summers.
I think I lost my connection. Audible now?
Yeah,
we can hear you. We can hear
you.
Yeah.
So I have a question for. Yes, Naresh, go ahead.
Yeah, the question is from Tejas. Sir, I think win the toss and chase tomorrow's match. What's your thought? Okay.
Well, I mean, again, win the toss and elect to bowl first.
Yeah.
I think that's. I don't agree with that, especially because it's a daytime pitch. Now, I don't know. I think if you're going to win the toss, bat first and get the runs on the board and put pressure on the opposition. That's my thoughts. What do you think, guys? Debashis.
No, as Jay also said, we won't see any difference in the pitch. It would play the same. Today, Samson wanted to chase. He successfully did that. So yeah, Virat likes to chase. Virat did it last time against Rajasthan. He likes to chase. So
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a high scoring match tomorrow. I do. These two teams will bat well and bat long. So I think the scores will be, depending on who bats first. I would like to see RCB bat first and get a massive score. I would like to see that. I'd like to see.
I think the captain, whoever wins the toss, will field first tomorrow because they want to bowl on a track like at 3:30 when the sun will be out. If some purchase that they get, some turn, if the ball sticks a bit, as the sun gets down and the small little dew will come into play later on in the game in the second half. They want to bat when the dew falls, so the ball skids onto the bat, and they want to bowl when the ball grips on the pitch in the first half at 3:30 when the sun will be beating down. So I think whoever wins the toss tomorrow will field first.
All right. I mean, that may well be the case, but I can't see RCB losing. My honest opinion. What do you think, Naresh?
no, I'll go with 50-50. It could be anyone's game. It could be anyone's game.
Not another 50-50. Yesterday we had Symmetra saying 70-30. You win a game or you lose a game. You can't be 70-30, 50-50. What is this? You don't go,
No, both
the game. No. A winner. No 50-50. Don't give me that rubbish. Give me. Yesterday I blew up because Symmetra, with his very intelligent, said 70-30. I said, nobody wins 70-30. You win or you lose. Who's going to win the rest?
Okay, I'll go with Chennai so that there's a real good fight with the same number of points between these two sides and Bangalore doesn't get a big lead. So okay. I'll go with Chennai.
All right, Naresh is going with Chennai Super Kings. Put on record, Naresh said emphatically that CSK are going to win. All right, Jay.
AB de Villiers scores some magnificent 70-80 runs and Chennai wins the game.
Okay, there you go. Have you got a poster? Have you got a poster of AB de Villiers on your wall? Have you got a?
No. It's a treat. Like, usually, if he bats for 40 minutes or 50 minutes in T20 game, you'll have your weekend sorted.
And don't forget Maxwell. Debashis.
I am a huge Chennai fan, but then I would.
Here we go again.
You know very well, but I would like to put my money on RCB. The form they are in, with the likes of Padikkal, Kohli, Maxwell, and AB, I think they would be a tough team to beat. They have the right momentum. They are picking at the right time. You never know whether they would end up winning the championship or not, because Virat Kohli doesn't have the champions luck. We have seen it, but to at least the group stage match, I would put my money on RCB.
Okay, so we've got Jay on RCB, Debashis on RCB, and the rest on CSK. I'm sorry, but I'm on RCB as well. My only concern is I hope RCB leave their best games to the end of the tournament, and we're not just seeing a mid-season bonanza. I want to see them continue because they deserve at this early stage to be favourites for this competition. Yeah. All right, guys, our time has run out. We've had a wonderful discussion. Jay, you've been wonderful. Your beard, I'm not sure about, but you've been wonderful. So the fact is, we've had a great night. So let's enjoy the matches tomorrow, the double headers. This is Norman Kochnick saying goodbye to Debashis, Jay, Naresh, and co. Thank you for joining Extra Time.
Thank you. Thank you, Norman. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.